I was the last person you'd expect to get a tattoo. Most people knew me as the quiet, geeky, English as a foreign language teacher at a local school in Yamate. But anything can happen after you've been drowning your sorrows in nearby Mongkok Bar at 2 a.m. You see, I had a rough time at school. I joined it a year before only to soon find my self-esteem crucified every day by the most vicious 14-year-olds you could imagine. None of whom could understand how in this white man's world such a pushover of a Guaylo teacher had been handed to them to taunt, heckle, and occasionally slap and kick. Within the span of every lesson, it felt like centuries of colonial oppression around the world were being reversed and fully compensated for. So I found myself one school night with my only colleague who spoke to me on a regular basis, Freddie Fung, getting smashed. Now, I do remember that after I bawled my eyes out to him, it was Freddie who suggested that the best way for me to reclaim my dignity was with a big lay to society like a tattoo. But everything after that is a blank. All I know is that it was the next morning when I caught a glimpse of my neck in the bathroom mirror. I almost swallowed my toothbrush. 2 monstrous, unintelligible Chinese characters sat right across my throat. They looked like a stain on my soul. But I managed not to lose it completely. Winter was only just ending, I told myself, so I could get away with wearing a scarf at school for now, and as for the long term, I'd simply have to get laser removal. When I did get to school, I ran into a hungover Freddie Fung, his eyes full of sorrow and self-loathing. Freddie, what the hell happened last night? I whispered, trying to keep my voice low. He wouldn't answer. Instead, with an air of secrecy and shame, he unbuttoned the top half of his shirt to reveal a fresh, small tattoo of a dragon. My wife wanted me to cut it off with a cleaver last night. He quivered. Whatever, I said. That dragon is practically a mosquito. Now I need to show you something. You need to tell me what it says. As I lifted up my scarf, the shame on his face disappeared and mutated into horror. I grabbed his wrist. What? I demanded. What is it, damn it? He was shaking now. Sing, son, the name of the most violent Triad society in Hong Kong. I almost collapsed. The words themselves felt like a crowbar to my kneecaps. The characters on my neck might as well have signified a deadly curse. I knew I had to remove them immediately. But I couldn't do so soon enough. Not before Susie Chen, a colleague who enjoyed teasing me in front of the others, spotted me with my scarf later in the staff room. Why? Winter's over lah, she cheered. Your money still make you wear that. Then, as others began to look, she grabbed the scarf and ripped it off with a hideous titter. Laughter began to erupt in the room, but then it died a stillborn death in the air. Everybody looked at me as if a bomb was strapped beneath where my scarf had been. Looking most alarmed was the dean, who happened to be sitting right across from me. After a minute of wide-eyed silence, he ordered me into his office. Well, there's not much to talk about, he said once we were inside. I take it you know that staff are forbidden to have tattoos? And that you know that they're most definitely forbidden to be members of organized crime societies? For a second, I was too terrified to speak. Then, I felt an inexplicable shift inside of me. And almost before I was aware, I heard my own voice coming out more confidently than ever before in my life. Actually, there's a fair bit to talk about, I replied. Let's say your suspicions about me are right, and I am a part of an organized crime society. I take it you know what could happen to anyone who fucks with such a society? I was amazed. He was amazed. It was the first time I'd ever used language like that in my life. But I was also amazed at watching the dean. It was the first time I'd ever seen someone scared of me. I continued, venturing that perhaps it was my turn to propose a few rules, and that these might just include a pay rise, fewer classes, and extra holidays for a certain staff member. And thus, I first discovered that my tattoo was no curse at all, but a blessing. Yes, it might have been a stain on my soul, and all that other stuff, but my saintly small-town mom and dad would say, but it gave me a bigger pair of balls than anybody else. The dean loathingly accepted my requests, and things only got better from there. After word got around that I was head of the Yamate chapter of Sing Song, I started demanding lunch money every day from all the friends who retorted. To make them feel extra humiliated, I had a weedy little nerdling named Herbert collected from them. Herbert had been the only student who ever treated me with respect, and they picked on him for it. Never trust the teacher's pet, they'd said, and they were right. I gave my speckled sidekick a 10% cut of everything we took from him. There were other rewards. My colleagues who used to laugh at me for being misfit royal now treated me with a fearful respect. And I found Susie, the one who teased me before, starting to get flirty with me. It felt like I was finally enjoying the manhood that had been withheld from me my whole life. All until one day, middle of term, that is. It seemed a day like any other at first. I was in the school car park, counting the day's lunch money taken with Herbert. But this time, when I offered him his usual share, he spat and demanded the full amount. I chuckled, thinking my former bully victim was developing a sense of humor. I was expecting anything but the swift kick to the groin that he then dealt me. After I collapsed to the ground, gasping, and looked up through tears, I saw the tattoo artist now standing behind Herbert. Also behind him was Freddie Funk. Herbert? I asked, sobbing. What's going on? Please address me as Big Brother, the 14-year-old said. You're talking to the head of the Yamate chapter of Sing Song, and your membership fees are long overdue. I felt like nothing less than the manhood I'd recently thought was mine was suddenly being recalled by a loan shark. But you? I asked, now crying like a mama's boy I suddenly was again. Why? Never trust a teacher's pet, he said. Then he kicked my short-lived self-esteem back into oblivion.